Hey guys, and welcome. Tonight we have a very interesting topic. It's a topic I've just discussed in Stanford. It's basically the number one challenge in innovation and digital transformation. To briefly introduce myself, I'm Stefan Diefenbacher. I'm a global thought leader on the topics of strategy, innovation, and digital transformation. I've led some of the world's most significant exercises. I'm also a bestseller author and a researcher and lecturer on those topics. Now, what we see out there is that corporate longevity is on a heavy decline. And that is the challenge we as leaders face. We have to reinvent our organizations. And the reason why corporate longevity is on such a heavy decline is that technology is accelerating at unprecedented pace, creating disruption at speeds unheard of, but also creating opportunities that we have never seen before. And these are the opportunities we can capture thanks to innovation and digital transformation. So then the next question becomes, how much change is required? How much can we change, but also how much should we be changing? And so if the market change is limited, then continuous improvement is good enough, advancing in small steps. If, however, the market change is more significant, then we require a digital transformation. And if the market is changing very heavily, that is what we see across sectors because technology is disrupting, as we just discussed, then we have to create innovation to create those massive step changes. So in general, you want to develop faster than the market to capture those opportunities. And you want to certainly avoid the death zone when you develop much slower than the market. So you want to be at least aligned with that curve. If you're below that curve, you're in the death zone. If you're faster, that means you're overtaking your competition. That means you're creating new opportunities, you're capturing opportunities. So you want to stay in the green curve. The number one challenge arises from the Unite Horizons of growth. And I'm showing you slides tonight straight off our download package on that topic. So there are only three ways an organization can develop. It can improve as you execute and improve in Horizon 1. And you do that by digitizing or digitalization. Yeah? Transformation, in contrast, is a step change to one part of your business model. So you adapt one part of your business model in a more drastic fashion and the rest follows. That is a digital transformation. The third approach is innovation. And innovation actually, and by definition, is radical in nature. So it's not new to your company. It should be new to your country, new to the universe. It's a radical change. Innovation is radical in nature. And I'm very sorry for the table, but I have to take you some of the key points here. So, and I'm going to focus on contrasting Horizon 1 improvement with Horizon 3 innovation so you get the gist. So execution and improvement in Horizon 1 happens where? It happens inside the core organization because, it is our very own organization. No? The purpose is to exploit current resources and capabilities, and the approach is one of execution. It's incremental, it's sustaining. The business model, of course, we know it's our very own business model that we are daily executing and incrementally improving. Now, innovation in Horizon 3 is the opposite. We are outside of our core organization. If we are inside, we have probably a big problem to start with. And we are in the search of new business models and are trying to capture opportunities, ideally blue ocean opportunities, where there is limited competition. The purpose is to create new avenues of growth with potentially disruptive business models. So we are in the search, and that is the definition actually of a startup. We are in the sometimes desperate search and try to build a radically new business model. So the changes of the strategic intent here in Horizon 1 is to reduce costs and increase profit. The core competency is therefore an operational one, and the critical tasks are efficiency, incremental changes, and therefore we require a culture of efficiency, low risk and error prevention. Now in Horizon 3, it's the opposite. The strategic intent is to innovate. The core competency is entrepreneurial, and we are looking for breakthrough innovation. We're looking for adaptability. We're looking for new products and service creation. And therefore, the culture must be one of risk-taking, speed, flexibility, and experimentation. The risk and reward in innovation is high. It's often typically triple-digit growth ideally. The expected risk and reward in Horizon 1 is low. You're talking typically single-digit growth. The key message I want to convey with that slide is, regardless where you look at, everything changes radically depending on which horizon you're operating in. It doesn't matter if you look at your organizational design, your feedback mechanisms, how you do marketing, how you do operations, how you set up your team members and your organizational structure, your culture. And we're going to discuss all that. Everything changes radically depending on if you're executing, improving, or innovating. And the key challenge organizations out there face today, and that is why it's the number one error in innovation digital transformation. Organizations don't get the right setup. And if you don't have the right setup, you're much more likely to ultimately fail. So understanding this table and understanding this talk here is absolutely critical. And I would like to invite you, as you go back to your offices tomorrow morning, to review in which horizon are you operating in, which horizon is your team operating in, and then to question yourself and wonder, hey, do we actually have the right setup for this? Or do we need to change and adapt? Because if you don't have the right setup, I would strongly encourage you to stop right there, reflect, adapt, and change, because without the right setup, your chances are going to be highly limited. So we're now going, this table just covers the way of thinking. I'm now going to discuss with you the way of acting, the way of putting that into action. The context is something we have just discussed. We are moving from exploit to explore to breaking new ground, from the business model is known to an unknown business model, from a strategic intent of cost and profit to one of innovation. Now, in terms of organizational structure, in Horizon 1, we are by definition hierarchical. Why are we sorted out in a hierarchical fashion most typically? Because we need to specialize. Therefore, a siloed structure makes sense because that enables you to have deep pockets of knowledge. Therefore, you're talking about a division of work across your organization to achieve that specialization. Now, in Horizon 3, we want to have teams that are collaborating together. And here, we need, therefore, a circular org structure, one that is loose and flat to enable that collaborative work in a Scrum team, potentially around one table as we start out in our search for innovation. The methodologies you're going to employ in Horizon 1 include Six Sigma. Six Sigma is error-free execution, Kaizen. And the controls and rewards and KPIs, how we measure success, is margins and whatever productivity measures. Now in Horizon 3, it's the opposite. We want to build an MVP at some point in time, a minimum viable product. And the approach we're going to take is one of agile. We're going to discuss and approach the topics with the highest uncertainty and the highest risk. They get factors in first. The methodology is one of design thinking, customer development, minimum viable product building, growth hacking. And interestingly enough, innovation cannot be measured through margins and productivity, not until it becomes itself a Horizon 1, so one where you execute. For innovation, you need learning and growth metrics to understand, are we on the right track? Are we learning fast enough? Do we get the right kind of feedback? Do we understand our customers? These are the key metrics we're considering in Horizon 3. The leadership and team. So in Horizon 1, you want to have highly specialized experts. Why? Division of labor, siloed work, we specialize. Therefore, the leadership role can be authoritative and top-down. the leader, sometimes at least, or is best placed, because often these are the more senior people. And since the environment they are operating in is extremely well known, we don't need to, we're basically looking for senior leaders because they know it often best. They have been there, after all, in those roles, typically for decades of knowledge, and bring decades of knowledge with them. So in Horizon 3, it's the opposite. We are in the unknown. We are therefore looking for entrepreneurial leaders who have a big track record in managing risk, managing uncertainty. And we are looking at a team that has a very broad background expertise and who is T-shaped, so which have deep specialization, but are broad enough to understand across disciplines. So you're looking at a technologist who also has product, business, marketing knowledge, and then a marketeer has product, business, and IT knowledge to a certain degree. So everybody can regroup around the table and discuss new ways of doing things, new avenues of growth, identifying new ideas, and discussing in a competent way their execution. The leadership role of the entrepreneurial leader is one of visionary, and he's highly involved, he's operational, he's clearly part of the team. In terms of marketing, the core target group in Horizon 1 is existing customers, and we churn out our products and tell them through our mass marketing approaches. Now in Horizon 3, it's the opposite. Many organizations like to work for the same customers and offer their product that they are developing or their new services to the same types of customers, but that often doesn't work. Why? In Horizon 3, as we develop new products and services, we often change the target segments as well. We are targeting new segments. It's unlikely that you will continue to be able to work with your existing customers. And we need to get feedback from them. So it's an almost collaborative experience to some degree. We invite them to participate potentially in new product, service experience, etc. And we want to get qualitative feedback, which is firsthand. So the team needs to get the feedback themselves, not a market research institute, in small samples. So they can ask questions. So there is a back and forth with the customer because we don't know yet. Otherwise, by the way, it wouldn't be an innovation to start with. In terms of managing risks, in Horizon 1, we have no failure allowed. The purpose and central question is, can we optimize costs and performance? Just imagine if Airbus or Boeing suddenly have flights, have their airplanes not working correctly, or if bank transfers don't work correctly, or if the car manufacturers don't produce safe cars. Therefore, no failure allowed. No failure allowed goes back to our approaches of Kaizen, of Six Sigma, etc. Now in Horizon 3 in innovation, the opposite is true. Failures are part of the learning curve. We run tests as early as possible to gain feedback and learn from it by confronting our ideas, our business recipes, our concepts with reality, with how customers react. And that is, by the way, the central point of an MVP is to gain qualitative feedback. In terms of collaboration and working together with others, in Horizon 1, we are procurement driven. We work with service providers. And we can be procurement driven because we know exactly what we want. We can write down the specifications of what we want exactly. Yeah? And therefore, the commercial model is budgeting led. Yeah? We can ask our suppliers to offer us a fixed price, fixed scope, because why? Well, it's well specified. We know exactly what we want. Now, the opposite is true when it comes to innovation. We need to be partnership driven. We want to be working with a true partner who is equally involved, who has perhaps equal votes in it. And perhaps in terms of commercial model, we need to reflect upon shared success because our partner is a key value driver in all of that. So in terms of technology, the technology setup in Horizon 1 is one of operations best practice, large-scale IT, and stability and requirements engineering. Why? We know our environment, we can specify it exactly, and we need to scale it and can scale it. The development approach is therefore often one of release management and still waterfall. And waterfall is actually fine. If you know exactly what you want, you can specify what you need exactly. In Horizon 3, it's the opposite. We want to have outside of enterprise IT, lightweight, highly flexible, time to market over perfection, because you want to test. So it doesn't need to be perfect. We just want to get adequate feedback. The development approach is typically a mixed team, including marketing and product development people and business people who work in an agile mode organized in short sprints. And again, the reason for that is clear. We are working in an environment of uncertainty. We need the brains of all to shape our product and mold it because we can't specify exactly the requirements. Next question is, how much change is actually required and how should the portfolio allocation look like? So if the market change is limited, then continuous improvement is good enough. That is Horizon 1. We're executing and incrementally improving in small steps. The market change is, however, more significant. We need to go for a transformation, a digital transformation typically, to make a step change to our business and operating model. If there are big changes in the market, and that is what we can observe in most sectors because of exponentially accelerating technological pace and adoption by the general public and by companies around the world, then we need fundamental changes, and we do that through innovation. And as we just discussed, each of those three purposes or each of those three growth options, Horizon 1 improvement, Horizon 2 transformation, Horizon 3 innovation, takes a very, very different setup. In general, you want to develop faster than the market to capture those opportunities. And you certainly want to avoid the death zone where you develop much slower than the market. So you want to stay in the green curve, you want to develop at least in line with the market or faster, and you want to avoid to be slower. Now, what does that mean in terms of portfolio allocation? The best practice normally says, let's allocate 70% of our budgets to incrementally improve in Horizon 1. Managed by the CEO, COO, the Chief Operating, the Chief Marketing, and the Chief Finance Officer. 20% should be going to transforming Horizon 1 in a step change fashion, a digital transformation, and 10% should go to radically innovating a new business model, building new products and services, etc. And who is managing that? Well, ideally, it should be managed by a chief new business officer or somebody like that. Why? You need to separate those three horizons of growth. You can't have the same person managing being risk averse, having a culture of error prevention, using certain approaches such as Six Sigma and Kaizen, and doing at the same time being suddenly high risk, following very different approaches, very different management styles, very different operating styles, very different procurement approaches, etc. That is why Horizon 1, 2, 3 need to be managed separately and need to have separate budgets. Horizon 2, by the way, is something that should be jointly done between the existing business and the chief new business officer who is managing radical changes, including innovation, but also in parts transformation. So the idea is you take a transformation and transformative objective outside of the building, you build an MVP for it, you specify it, you work on harmoniously reconfiguring your business and operating model till it works. And then comes the actual transformation, Horizon 1. The transformation is then simply a change management approach of your harmoniously reconfigured business and operating model that you carry out in Horizon 1 to actually make that step change. Now the question is, what is the ideal portfolio allocation for your firm? And you don't have to look at the details in the text, but the general idea is, if you face signs of disruptions, meaning your margins are on decline, the competition is intensifying, then you want to shift more into Horizon 2 and 3 to increasingly take up speed and to increasingly change. If, however, Horizon 1 is superbly working, you have high margins and you see many growth options, well, then you do not have to transform and innovate. And therefore, you can heavily then reduce your budgets and focus on a still heavily growing Horizon 1. That is the general idea in portfolio allocation. There are much more detailed theories around that, which I'm happy to share if you're interested. Now, in terms of a growth matrix, so here you can either transform and innovate into new value propositions, products and services, or move into new markets and customer segments. Yeah? Each of those work. And now you can actually overlay your business model. So here we see the main components of a business model, the Unite business model canvas. It's a much improved version. I can't show you all the details tonight. But basically we have the 5 key components of operating model, value and service model, experience model, and the financial model composed out of cost and revenue. You can overlay that business model with those horizons of growth, because some, depending on your objectives, you're more likely to work on certain aspects of your business model. So to incrementally improve in Horizon 1, you're normally going to work on your operating and cost model. And if you want to move into new value propositions, well, you need to work on your value and service model. You're moving into new markets and customer experiences, new market segments. Then you need to work on your experience model and most likely the revenue model, which is often a surprising big source of innovation. And if you want to really work in Horizon 3, it's most likely that you need to work on your value and service model. Also here there are much more details behind, but basically if somebody says to you, hey, we want to innovate, most likely the correct answer is work on your value and service model. There are other related models to this one. And just to give you an idea of the integrated nature of the Unite models, so we are seeing here in the center the business model canvas with all of its aspects, and you can literally move from there to any other aspect that is of your interest. So you can move from your business model into your value propositions. You can look into innovation patterns. You can work on your operating model. These are equally seamlessly integrated. You can look into, okay, what kind of team setup do we need for that? Who is executing actually on that and under what type of culture? The Unite models are integrated and we generally need to think in a much more integrated type of fashion. All of what I've shared today is proudly shared open source. That's an IP we have built in 5 years of research, strategically looking into all of the aspects of digital strategy, innovation, and transformation. The Unite models, of which you see a high-level abstract here with the Unite Navigator, cover the entire world of digital strategy, innovation, and transformation. And interestingly, how did this all came about? Well, most innovation transformations failed. So we literally went through the work of researching 270 post-mortems, so failed initiatives of innovation transformation, and looked strategically like, why did they fail? What are the key reasons? With what type of approaches, mechanisms, methodologies, etc. can we overcome those failures? And that gave birth to the Unite models, which are today the by far largest, deepest, and first integrated set of models, patterns, frameworks, approaches, canvases, strategies, and so on and so forth. An abstract of that 5-year research effort, which covers in total 3,500 pages, is covered in How to Create Innovation. How to Create Innovation, this book is a bestseller currently published by Wiley in the English-speaking world, and it's coming out in 10 other languages, published by some of the leading publishers globally. Over 100,000 experts out there are already leveraging the Unite models, are leveraging our IP, are leveraging that research, and that allows you to drastically increase the success rate of your digital initiatives, drastically increasing the investment security and improving ultimately the ROI you're getting. I'm on a mission. My mission is to double and triple the success rates of digital initiatives and business models. I'm very much looking forward to connecting and happy to demonstrate to you in practice how you can apply that IP and research and knowledge to drastically increase your chances of success and your profitability and build new revenue and growth drivers. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Have a very good day.